Mic check. Okay, we're live.
Good day, everyone. This is WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the entire world. You can watch us also via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And if you like to comment or so forth, you can certainly call in to our station. I'm attorney Linda Bernard, and I'm welcoming you today to Chop It Up with Linda Bernard. We're really going to chop it up today, ladies and gentlemen, with a gentleman that really needs no introduction in Detroit or Atlanta, since he is Dave of the Dave's Choice Awards, which is one of the major events in the city of Detroit and in the city of Atlanta. Hello, Dave. How are you?
Good morning. Mic check. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Dave Bishop, DB. I can't believe that you're even here with us in Detroit today. You're back and forth so much from Atlanta, and you're always doing different types of events. Before we start with what you're doing now and everything, I just want to give the community a real fast briefing on what's happening with crime in the city. I'm the police commissioner, the Detroit Department of Police. Obviously, I'm a commissioner for District 2. And I'd just like to say to our listening audience that, as you know, crime unfortunately is on the rise in Detroit, but in several categories it's down. Sexual assaults are like 30% down. Carjackings are down, along with robberies of all types. So I'm very pleased about that. But ladies and gentlemen, the areas that there's been a significant rise of more than 20% is with respect to homicide and with respect to aggravated assault involving guns. So I ask you, and I'm going to ask you again before we end today, and I'm going to ask Dave to join me in this plea before we end this broadcast, to please do not carry a gun. Last weekend in Detroit, 185 young black men were arrested. This is an automatic 2-year felony. Many of them, of course, were also driving with this drag racing thing and making the donuts. For your information right now, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, the Detroit Police, and the Michigan State Police are doing nothing but, as my mother would say, laying out in the cut, waiting to catch you doing something wrong. So we need you to be sure to one, slow down, do not do the donuts, do not race. The reason why is because you lose your car. Not only nowadays do they impound your car, they forfeit it. So you have a $35,000 Charger or whatever it is,
Wow.
and it's gone.
What about your license?
Your license can be affected as well. But what they are interested in now are the cars. We have a whole lot of nothing but cars.
Wow.
That have been forfeited. That now, so you'll be able to go back and buy that car for $8,000 or whatever it is, when it's really a $30,000 car, unless there's a lien on it, of course. Mm-hmm. If there's a lien on it, if Chrysler still has a lien on it, then you're not able to do that. Mm-hmm. But please, stop the drag racing, and beyond everything, do not carry a gun.
Not only that, the drag race is very unsafe, and it jeopardizes other pedestrians and people, like they was doing on the lodge I saw last summer. People stopping traffic. So I just think that's for foremost, look out for public safety as well.
Yeah, but I want you to look out for yourselves. I am committed to what Reverend Jackson says, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Dave, and he says all the time that Jackson has become the all-black male academy. So I don't want more black males to go to Jackson.
Excuse me. Turn right back around. Spider right behind you.
You got it?
No.
Where'd he go?
Directly behind you.
What do you want me to do?
Just
Kill
turn
it?
around. Yeah, turn around. Excuse me, thank folks.
Yeah, I don't want to get bitten by a spider. Did you get him? Good. All right now. That's okay. Right, but please ease up on. Do not carry a gun unless you have a permit. And as you probably know, in Michigan, there's a law called constructive possession. You can't even have a gun in your house if, in fact, you have a conviction for any felony.
Wow.
It is an automatic charge, an automatic felony charge, so you can't have
2 years flat.
Yeah, 2 years mandatory. It's an automatic gun offense. So anyway, so we'll come back to that in a minute. Having said that, I want you to meet Dave Bishop, a gentleman that I've known for a long, long time.
30 years.
Don't say that. The two things I never discuss: age or weight. Right. Don't ever ask me. Years I don't discuss. Just a long time, a short time, whatever it is. But anyway, Dave, why don't you let our listening audience become familiar with you first and foremost? When did you start? Not when, but how? Just name some of the events that they would have heard about, your platinum event, your pearl event, your champagne event. Can you just go through the litany of the names?
Wow. Well, like I said, I'm a veteran event promoter. I've been doing this since the 80s. I started out doing the Fresh concerts with a promoter by the name of Ricky Walker. Now, those of you, how you know Ricky Walker? Ricky Walker was one of the veteran promoters who started with the Jacksons. He started with LL Cool J, started with Salt and Pepper, but Ricky got out the game and he started the Universal Soul Circus. And from that point, I learned all my knowledge from him, and then he went on to do the circuit. I stayed on and did the concerts, and I got him the tutelage of another veteran promoter by the name of Mr. Quentin Perry. And from then, I just started doing signature events. You might have heard of Bubbles and Smokes, the Ultimate White Party, the Ultimate Black Party. I got another signature event I do called the Detroit Choice Awards, formerly the Dave's Choice Awards. And we got a nice big event coming June 5th. I'm excited to tell you about today. It's a big charity event to benefit my nonprofit, my 501c3 Dave's Choice Community Development Corporation.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what kind of people come to your event, and what's the draw for people other than you? And you always know it's going to be fabulous. You always know it's going to be the most upscale party in the city of Detroit. Mm-hmm. His events are platinum events. Mm-hmm. They've been held in Dearborn at the theater there on Michigan Avenue. What's the name of that place?
That's the Detroit Performing Arts Theater.
Yeah, the Detroit Performing. He's done them at downtown as well.
At the Rooster Tail.
Right, and he's had performers like the young people that were on the big choir.
Detroit Youth Choir.
The Detroit Youth Choir, right? The Detroit. Yeah, I mean, it's just fabulous, it's unbelievable. So you have something coming up soon. Is that correct?
Right. So what my premise of how I do events, I try to exceed everybody's expectation. My grandma always told me, if they pay $5, you give them $500 worth, and that's what we pride ourselves on. But with this, in about 1 week, we have an event called Polo and Pretty Woman. It's a Polo and Pretty Woman is a polo match, a big extravagant fashion show, a day party, and plenty of women throughout the whole day. We start at 12, into 8, have a fabulous event. We got food, we got drinks. I mean, it's going to be a great celebration and an unforgettable experience for my patrons.
So, for those people who don't understand polo, why don't you explain what's happening with the polo match?
Okay, polo's match. It's a game between horses, and they play polo. And you familiar with polo, but it's not really introduced or catered to my demographic. So I found a way to introduce that type of game, that entertainment, to my demographic and my crowd, and I think we're going to enjoy it. I mean, it's always attended well by in the Hamptons, in New York, in California, but really not a game with spectators in a metro urban area. And I think it's going to be something different for them.
It has never, the black community, within my experience, has never been invited to a polo event. Polo, as you know, started in Europe. You've seen Prince Charles and all of and all of the princes and kings in the world. They have on those nice white shirts. They're on a horse, and they have a polo stick that has like a big club at the bottom of it, and it hits a ball. Actually a polo field is almost 3 times a football field.
That's correct.
And so you have to be an excellent horseman or horsewoman to play polo, and obviously to get the ball down to the other thing. You're bending, leaning. You have to be in superb shape. And most professional polo players have had a number of serious injuries. Legs, arms, backs, all have been broken because it's a rough sport. But it's one that we've never been exposed to. You're absolutely right, Dave. Mm-hmm. What made you think of polo and Pretty Women?
Now, don't give me that. My favorite movie of all time is Pretty Woman.
Okay.
Now, if you recall that scene with Julia Roberts and Richard Gere at the polo match,
right?
Yeah, and she's talking in the polo match to the young ladies, and I said, "Well, man, a polo game, Then Pretty Woman, and that's how I got it. And that's how
so you got it from Julia Roberts, huh?
Yeah, right. And I just think Detroit has some very, very fine, pure, pretty women. It's a day to invite them out to celebrate themselves. Let them dress up in their hats. Let them dress up in their fancy dresses. Take pictures and feel good about themselves.
That's true, ladies and gentlemen. The attire for this event is the same that you would wear to the Kentucky Derby.
Correct.
It's big hats. Men are dressed. It's no hoodies and stuff like that. They're dressed like gentlemen.
To the best.
And many of the men wear hats as well. They wear a fedora.
Yeah.
So you're very well dressed, and you're treated like a king or a queen. And the ladies are dressed very well as well with a big hat. I gotta find a hat.
Very high society. Very high society.
Extremely high society. So you think that the African American community will embrace this event?
I only hope that they embrace it, but I hope they appreciate it, because we're going to come back every year. It's going to get bigger. We're in plans now to bring it to the inner city Detroit, like Belle Isle or maybe Palmer Park, because it originally started in Belle Isle Polo back in the day.
Okay.
But it was great that you said the size, because the size matters.
Right.
We got the Detroit Polo Club, and that's the only polo club within the city limits. We're right outside of Brighton, and there's going to be large field. Horses, four team members on each side, and we're gonna do it for charity.
Right. So if any of you ladies and gentlemen like horses, I really do. I ride horses. As a matter of fact, that's how my leg got broken, because the saddle, my saddle actually came off my horse.
Oh.
But yeah, it was a big deal. So, but I still love horses. I love to ride, but I have no ability to play polo, to ride with that efficiency. When you have a 2,000, 3,000 pound animal beneath you, and you're trying to, stay on the animal and move with the animal and bend and twist to hit a little white ball down on the ground, it's kind of hard.
Right, very hard, very skilled.
It's a tough thing to do. So we need everyone here. So how would they find out more about this event?
Oh, you definitely can find out more. Please visit the website for all the information and questions. poloandprettywomen.com. Just how it says, that's how you see it.
It's an A-N-D?
A-N-D. Polo and A-N-D, prettywomen.com.
I see. So, okay. So you mentioned the fashion show. Who's going to be involved with this
the fashion show was a great idea. It's a partner of mine by the name of Mr. Deshaun Franklin of Indie Fashion. We're going to feature 5-6 of the best Detroit local designers going to show off their spring, summer fashions, and we're going to showcase that on the longest runway right in front of the field. 250 feet one way straight across. You see these fashions. So it's going to be a spectacular at halftime event.
Oh, wow. It's going to be really good. Yeah. Ladies that are models, not male models?
Both.
Okay.
You're gonna see the men and lady fashions. Bring it out.
Oh, so you want all the brothers to come out because there's gonna be so many girls there?
If they take my advice, if they have any good sense, they will be there. The ratio to this event is maybe like 5 to 1 now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
5 girls every
one guy. Yeah.
Okay, so you also can just bring your guy. I mean,
of course.
So couples are definitely encouraged to attend and to come. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's a purely adult affair, correct? No kids?
That's correct. Purely the grown, as we call it, the grown is sexy. As Diddy was said, we're going to preserve the sexy.
Oh, okay, preserve the sexy. That is wonderful. So how do people get to this place? Where is it?
It's straight up 96. 96 right.
Just like going towards Lansing.
Yes, exactly.
Just follow the signs for Lansing.
Yep. And you want to Google Detroit Polo Club.
Right.
It's from downtown Detroit. It's about a 40-minute drive.
Yeah, it's not very far.
Yeah.
If you know where Kensington Park is, it's before Kensington, I believe. Before you get to Kensington.
When you come up on the Grand River exit, once you go up to 96, the Grand River exit, right before you get to Lansing.
Oh, that's wonderful. So we've got Polo to look forward to this month. And can you tell us something about the Dave's Choice Awards and what made you decide to do that? Because everyone's familiar with that.
Okay, the Dave's Choice Awards, aka Detroit Choice Award, that's going to take place September 18th this year at the Detroit's Garden Theater, and that whole purpose of that show is to recognize, empower, encourage, and inspire our local community leaders, activists, entrepreneurs. It's a great event. It started out. We started the event out on my 50th birthday in Atlanta. I didn't want to tell nobody, but in Atlanta, it started out as the day choice was because I wanted to find a way to empower the people that was very, very personal in my life. So I picked 50 people on my 50th birthday and gave them all awards. And from there, the show just transcended. It got bigger. So we did it the following year, Detroit Rooster Tail. After that, at the Ford Performing Arts Center. The last year was at the Blue Fin. And this year's going to be at the Detroit Garden Theater. We have some great honorees. We honoring good friend, the retiree Craig Strong, honorable. The late Benny the Podium. I mean, we have some great honorees. You're gonna see you're gonna find some things that you should have known that you don't know, because we're gonna kind of relive that and gonna honor and celebrate them.
Craig's a good friend and has been a long, long time. Because I'm a lawyer, of course, I know most of the judges, and he has just been
Great
at
guy.
the forefront of all social events. Whenever I watch the Emmys or the Grammys, I look for him in the first 5 rows. He and Reverend Sharpton, I can always find in the crowd, but usually because Craig is resplendently dressed and so forth.
Right.
It makes a big difference. How do you compare the social scene in Detroit to Atlanta's social scene?
Well, it's really, I think the only difference between the social scene and Atlanta scene is that Atlanta has way more people than Detroit. It's more progressive. Where we have Detroiters, Atlanta is built with, we got D.C., we have Maryland, we have Miami, we have Mississippi. They all migrated to this one big huge hub, and we all sharing, expanding ideas, opening up businesses and everything. Detroit is not quite like that. But what I find myself doing, I'm taking resources I'm learning from Atlanta, bringing it back, which is the Polo event. I attended, same type of format there, and bringing it back here. So it does benefit myself, and it does benefit some of the great citizens of the city of Detroit.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you find it different. Atlanta has about the same black population that we have as well?
Well, Atlanta is like 7 million people.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, it's bigger than Chicago.
Yeah, and Detroit is like close
700,000.
Yeah, under a million. Yeah.
We're way under a million right now.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Is the gentrification happening in Atlanta that's happening in Detroit with more suburbanites, more white people moving in, more black people moving out?
Not as quite now. Pretty much the urban is kind of dominating the inner city.
Okay, so the core city is dominated by African Americans. I understand that more films have been done in Atlanta this past year than in Hollywood. Did you know that in California?
I heard that.
Yeah, it was part of the stuff that people were talking about concerning the Oscars and so forth. And I know the Tyler Perry studio is there.
One of the leading forerunners.
Yes, it is. Have you ever been out there to take a look at it?
No, I haven't been to the studio, but his thing is so expansive. He has his own exit sign. He has his own marquee. It said Tyler Perry Studios, take this exit. I mean, the city has really embraced him for what he's done for the community.
He deserves it. He really deserves it. He's a phenomenal leader and a phenomenal man. But not just on the film side, the music side has exploded there as well. Like it used to be in Detroit, or can you compare the two?
Well, it used to be. Well, I think the Atlanta music scene has really dominated. When it used to be in New York, it's now coming to Atlanta.
Oh, really?
A lot of your musicians that was living in Los Angeles are now living in Atlanta. So the entertainment, as far as the entertainment, that's we calling that now. You know what we're calling that now? We're calling that now. Hollywood, Black Hollywood.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So Atlanta has just taken off. Let's talk politics for a minute. Your mayor, the lady mayor, just announced that
Keisha Bottoms.
Yeah, Miss Bottoms, that she was not going to run for re-election.
Right. Well,
so who's on the floor? What's happening there on a political?
We think it's always we think and we hope that she's going to get a bigger appointment from the president of the United States. That's what we're hoping for. I mean, she deserves it.
Or she could run for governor. She could run for a higher office or Senate.
Yeah, definitely. I think that her leadership is what the bigger ups are calling for. That in the time of need, with them dealing with this pandemic, we need more great leaders up in the forefront. So we just think that it's time for her to get escalate.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Do you know her personally?
No. No.
She actually the gentleman that's co-producing this show, Casper Peak. That's his cousin.
Oh, really?
That gentleman, yeah. That's
man, she has a very good story. If you know her story when she was campaigning, she was talking about her father, her children, what she's doing. She has a very dominant. It's very touching. That's why I voted for her.
What happened with her? I don't know her story.
The story was, I think she was my understanding, she was raised for sort of like my situation, raised by a father of daddy's girl, and she he pushed her to her heights, and she's becoming successful in the politics world.
Yeah, I'm a daddy's girl too, as you know.
Right.
But I always have been, I always will be, and everything. So you think that's where she's gonna go and what's gonna happen?
That's what the skeptics are saying. That's what that's the word around town.
When is the mayor's race in Atlanta? Next year?
Next year, yeah. Okay.
Well, our mayor's race, as you know, is this year. So it's a hot race
what we
right
got?
now. Well, of course, Mike Duggan, who's made enormous changes in the city of Detroit, and buses are running and things are happening in a much better sense. And of course, we have the city council. The whole city council's up, as well as
the whole city council's up.
Yeah. And there's a number of vacancies on the city council. Brenda Jones, who's been the head of the city council for many years, is stepping down. So that's a vacancy. Spivey, who I think represented District 7. He's now running for the at-large seat because Brenda Jones there are 2 at-large seats, and then 7 district seats. There's 7 districts, like I am. I represent District 2 in the city of Detroit for the police commission. There's 7 other elected police commissioners, and then there are 4 appointed commissioners by the mayor. So there are 11 police commissioners.
Okay.
In terms of city council, there are 9 members. There are 7 commissioners elected by district. Roy McAllister is my council person. Mary Sheffield represents downtown Detroit. She represents District 5. So, for example, so there are 7 elected city council people and 2 at large that are elected at large for the entire city. Wow. So we have a 9-member council and an 11-member board of police commissioners, and the mayor's race. The mayor, of course, is on the ballot this year, and of course, he has a number of achievements and so forth to point to in terms of his administration. From what I've got,
so he has a good track record then.
Well, what do you think about the city? You think the city's doing better?
They're progressing, yeah. From when I left, yes.
Yeah. So you see the progress. Yeah, and I think that's the whole purpose of his race this time. Although we were surprised because many of us thought that he was going to either go to work with, of course, because he's really, really talented, and I'll tell you why I think so in a minute. Thought he was going to go and work with the president, but he didn't do that, or he could have run for governor, and I think he would have made it because he would have carried Detroit. And if you carry southeastern Michigan in a statewide election, if you carry Oakland, Macomb, and all these counties around here, and Wayne, then you will win. It's just that because of the population base.
Speaking of governor, I'm going to bring up the police chief who just stepped down.
Yeah, Chief Craig.
And it's word that he may be running for governor as well?
That is correct. Okay. He is. I've known, it's interesting. I met Chief Craig in Los Angeles about 10 years ago at a party. That I have a cousin, Raymond Bernard, and there who goes these fabulous parties in L.A. And so the chief was there. He was a lieutenant there for the Los Angeles PD.
Okay.
He worked for 25 years in Los Angeles, although he graduated from Cass High here, and actually was a Detroit police officer here. But then when we did all those major layoffs, he left the city, went to L.A. to become a police officer. So anyway, that's when I met him about 10 years ago, and then of course he was selected by our emergency manager to be the police chief. That was when Detroit's government was like suspended. The emergency manager, like a bankruptcy trust, had all the power. So he appointed James Craig as the police chief. Well, James Craig has been the police chief for 8 years here. And there have been major changes in the police department.
I agree.
There are like 2,700 officers now on the street, sworn officers in the city of Detroit, which is a good number for our city. And they've done all kinds of new and different things, some of which people agree with, like a lot of people disagree with facial recognition because it distorts the features of African Americans, and that's a real issue. But for example, the board crafted a policy that says you can only use facial recognition in a capital crime. So If it's an ordinary crime, I snatched your purse or robbery or something, nuh-uh. You can only use facial recognition when it's really like a murder, assault with a weapon, something like that. So, but you can't really stop technology. When we go through the airport, it's all facial recognition. When you walk into a store, it's facial recognition.
You know who got the best? Did you know who has one of the best facial recognitions across the country?
Who?
Walmart.
Oh yeah, they're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been had you know some.
Yeah, no, for years. So does Rite Aid for 6 years. They take your picture when you walk in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they can really. So Walmart is really doing. That's how they keep down their theft, or what is?
Yeah. They want the most high tech. I mean, they so high tech. I mean, they probably use the same thing the FBI uses, but they can come scan your body, can tell your name and everything. It was a special down there. Yeah, Walmart. If you've been.
So if you walk in, they know your name.
If my face is in the database, yeah, they know everything.
If you've ever charged anything, or so it's throughout the store. It's not just
just throughout the store when you walk in.
I see. I see. Oh,
okay.
That our number one producer just walked in, Mr. Roger Pennsylvania. He's a great guy, and this is his station, ladies and gentlemen, WJZZ Cool TV. It was his idea and his brainchild. So you're going to see a lot more of what he's doing.
I want you to tell me about those callers, because I'm going to tell you about a story about JZZ.
Okay.
JZZ was a jazz station.
That's correct.
And one of their leading anchors really discovered me by the name of Larry Doc Elliott.
I remember Doc Elliott.
Yeah. He was on JLB at one particular time. He started JLB and then he moved to jazz. But he was one of the most guys who introduced me to Ricky Walker, as a matter of fact. It was funny. I was like a kid. I called on the radio station JLB and said, hey, I want to do something. He said, what do you want to do? I said, meet me at the station. And from there, he introduced me to everybody. But rest in peace, Larry Doc Elliott. But Larry Doc Elliott, I mean, he's a great fan and a great pioneer, one of my greatest mentors.
JZZ was downtown then, wasn't
it? Yep. He was a buddy. There was another guy I met, Terriano. I think he was the president or the manager of the station at that time. Yeah.
Okay. You have a good memory.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers the WJZZ call letters, and I was really happy when Roger purchased that. I thought that was great. So it sort of stayed in, within the black community. And he, of course, has a jazz segment on this station.
Okay.
I think it's every Thursday evening and so forth. So you can still listen to all of that jazz. But do you know that, of course, WJZZ had an incredible musical catalog, tons of albums. And a black man who you may have known. Do you remember Boogie? Sort of a big guy.
He used to work at the mall.
Yeah, and then he had a boat down at the marina and everything.
Boogie, very socialite.
Very
Everybody
smart.
loved him. Yeah.
Very smart. Boogie bought the entire collection. He had it in his house on LaSalle. He just bought, because when WJZZ went out of business, then all of the records were for sale. So he bought thousands of albums.
Wow.
And so he preserved that. It was important to him to preserve
and that's what
that
was
legacy.
back in the day when we were playing records on the everything is digital now.
But now everybody's doing vinyl. People like vinyl.
Yeah.
I guess it sounds better.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm a vinyl guy. Yeah.
You like vinyl?
I'm like vinyl before I like cassettes. I like vinyl before I like CDs. But vinyl.
Yeah, it's something. What is it? The fact that you're handling something big and you start to put the needle on the record.
Right. I got an Earth, Wind and Fire album on vinyl that I love.
Oh wow. You have to preserve them though.
Right.
It's interesting that you say that, because I have an aunt in Chicago who was the best friend of Nat King Cole and Maria Cole. She and her husband were like, they ate it together, did everything together. Anyway, I have a lot of pictures of them. But anyway, originally when Nat King Cole became an artist, because he was black and because he was brown skinned, they didn't want his picture on the album. So his original albums just have like scenes like a forest or a snowfall or something like that, like a hill and all that kind of crap. So because they wouldn't put his picture on the album. I have those albums. I have the Nat King Cole albums before and the others, the ones that when they finally let his face and name be on, they let his face be on the album. That was years later. But when he first became an artist, I believe it was for Columbia. His picture could not be on the album.
Wow.
But people were buying it. They loved the album and they loved his. Of course, no one sings like Nat King Cole, But yeah, but they could not put his picture on albums. So that's one of the values of vinyl. You see what was really happening,
right.
At the time in terms of what was going on.
Who's your favorite jazz artist?
Jazz. Probably Ahmad Jamal because I like keyboards.
Okay.
And Randy Crawford, she's my girlfriend.
Right.
Randy has been my friend for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, she's doing well in L.A.
Okay.
Yeah. Street life.
Yeah, right.
And Rio de Janeiro blues
and
everything else. Oh, she's my favorite female.
Okay.
But I always like Nancy Wilson a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a different sound.
Mm-hmm.
I like Randy. Who's your favorite?
Miles
Davis.
Yeah.
Miles.
Yeah.
I see. You like that trumpet.
Yep.
That
yeah.
sharpness. That
chick
that he does.
And I like Ramsey Lewis.
I love Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
Believe? Do you know what's it's interesting you mention him. He's the next. He's passed away just about 4 or 5 years ago now. He's the next door neighbor of Jesse Jackson.
Is he?
In
Chicago?
Yeah, in Chicago on the South Side. They both lived in the same house for like 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think his son lives. I think Ramsey's son lives there now.
Okay.
And but he's right next to Jesse, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jackie Jackson. He lives big old houses they've had for many years. They did when Jesse ran for president. They closed off the street, but he never moved. He never moved out. He never moved anywhere else. Or he stayed It's right off Stony Creek. Is that Stony Creek right there? Right off.
Jesse also is a good friend of yours too.
Yeah, Jesse is a friend of mine. That's true. He is. He's one of the smartest people I've ever known.
Remember you brought Jesse Jr. to my party?
Yeah.
Yep,
Jesse Jr. is cool. Yeah. He's super smart too, both of them. But no, so you think that? So you're living in Detroit now?
Yes. I have a dual residence. I'm in Atlanta and Detroit.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So you get to go back and forth whenever you want to.
I go get the knowledge, bring it back, and circumvent it, and bring it back, and everybody benefits.
Well, you bring the Polo back.
Right.
And this was a Black Polo event in Atlanta?
Yes. Another brother had it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you went to it?
Yeah.
And so you already knew what to do, how to do it.
I just had a vision. I got inspired. Once you get inspired, it activates you to move on impulse. So I went there, I got inspired, I got empowered. I said, man, Detroit has to experience this, what I experienced. I want them to get the same level of entertainment and satisfaction that I got. So I took it upon myself to migrate it to Detroit.
What would be your advice as a young African American man who grew up in Detroit to African American, both males, young males, and females? I mean, what do you see that they need to do? And as a father, what do you see that needs to change to stop this? It's not even a school to prison pipeline. It's just a community to prison pipeline now, and it's really, really bad right now. It breaks my heart at every meeting I get the crime statistics. Every single police commission meeting, it starts with the crime statistics: how many people they arrested, how many cars they impounded, and I get the actual factual sheets on who was shot, if they survived, where they were shot, what their name is, how old they are. I get a separate printout on that. And it's driving me crazy, Dave, because I want this to just stop. I don't want the entire community to be felonized. What would you say? What do you say to brothers and sisters when you go out and talk to them?
Well,
and please, ladies and gentlemen, if they're not, like teenagers on this broadcast, fine. But please, if you're an adult, please listen and please relate to your children what Dave's getting ready to tell you.
Well, one of the calls, I think, and I'm speaking because I was a felon, 4-time felon. I went to prison. I stayed in prison for 6 years. I went back out, kept violating parole. I had to learn. But I think what the pressure with me was I wanted it all, and I wanted it all fast. And when that temptation alone, it just brought another side of me. It wasn't until this last time. I've been home for 15 years now, crime free, no nothing. I came home in 2005, right before Detroit hosted the Super Bowl. I was here for Super Bowl for Detroit, and when I realized I had a daughter who really needed me, with all those mistakes I made, it was geared to my path of self-discovery. I discovered myself while I was incarcerated. I saw what I needed to do. I said, God, you leave me out. If you let me get out of this one, this one more time, I'm gonna do right. And when I committed myself for forgiveness and repented, that I start seeing different side of me that I need. The same skills I needed, the same skills and content I did to commit the crimes, I use them for the good now. And people can benefit from that because my past experience. I teach my kids. I got mentorship. I started 2 501c3s. I have one 501c3 program where I only mentor kids of incarcerated parents. I know what the parents are going through while they're in prison, missing their kids. I was one of them. I'm thankful for programs like Angel Tree because at Christmas time the kids need me the most. Angel Tree stepped up, gave my kids Christmas gift with my name on it, and said, "This is from your dad," and I know the feeling. So I always treasure that. I never forget that. And my way is to say, "Okay, God, He wants to use me to do His will," and that was part of the process. He sent me to the prison. He sent me to meet different people. He sent me to learn different things to bring it back and do His work. So I'd say that we got to be patient. You got that special individuals you're working with that's on this cannabis that's on the same path as I want. If you see the potential in them, have a little patience because it may be you. When you surrender to God, He's going to deal with it and He's going to bring them back, and He's going to see how He's going to get the glory at the end of the day, like He should be giving me now.
Well, the good part about that is that you've been able to instill that in your children as well.
Yes, ma'am.
That is fantastic. So you tell them to just delay their gratification. You don't have to have it all right now here today.
You don't. Because everybody's carrying a different burden. So my burdens may be a little bit heavy, and that person's burdens may be a little bit light. So therefore, they can probably get there because they're not carrying a lot. But you don't know, God put these burdens on everybody for a certain reason, for a certain length. And at the end, everybody's burden going to be lifted because I can help you can help me, but you can't want it because everybody has a choice, and it's always a cause and effect. So if I make these choices, because the cause is always going to be effect. So you got to learn, you got to know that. Now, one thing, I think you taught me this, and this is one lesson I tell myself. And what I'm about to say now has saved me and walked me through prison. Now, the thought becomes an act. Now, if the act I do, if it's going to jeopardize my health, is it going to jeopardize my freedom?
Right.
And if you can answer yes, I don't do it. I simply won't do it.
I tell people that there are only 3 things in the world that are important. The first is God's blessings, which obviously you have because you're a man of faith. The second is your health, and the third is your freedom. Because if you have your health, you don't do things. That's why you don't do drugs and dumb stuff like that, or take those pills and fentanyl, or try to get high on that kind of crap, because it's killing your health and your heart and your brain and everything else. You don't want to ever jeopardize your health or your freedom. And if you deal with those illegal substances and stuff like that, or do illegal stuff, then you're going to be you're jeopardizing your freedom.
That's correct.
I mean, it makes no sense. I tell everybody, I mean, even if without money is not as important, because you can walk, if you have your health, you can walk to California. It may take a year and a half, but you can get there. Because you can put one foot in front of the other. And nothing at the state, and if you have your freedom, nothing at the state line is going to go ding, ding, ding on your ankle that tells you, you can't leave because you have your freedom. So these are the things that are important.
I use that to live by all decisions. Any decision I make in life, I ask myself those questions. And that's why I know if I'm making the right decision. Because if it don't jeopardize my health and doesn't my freedom, then I think I'm on the right path. So
that's absolutely right. I want to let you know how sharp I think you are today there in that Fendi jacket.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's from the ATL or from the DET?
No, it's this actually from Diaper Dave clothing collection, my clothing line I made.
You made this. This is your line.
Yep, this is my line, Dapper Dave.
Okay, that is dapper.
Right.
That is sharp. So is that online too? Can people?
Yeah, but everything is custom made. We make that. You can follow my social media. It's Dapper Dave Clothing Company on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Dapper Dave, just for guys.
A lot of my suits I make custom. A lot of.
You should see the suits, ladies and gentlemen. They are amazing.
Right.
And at his last event, he has these black tie events. Everyone has on formals and everything. He likes for our people, for us to dress up and look like somebody and look important. Right, we got to look the part. Anyway, the young lady that he was with, he had on like a brocade and silk tuxedo jacket. He had on a full tux, and her skirt was made out of the same fabric that his jacket was made out of.
Right.
So if you really want to be sharp, You want to call Dapper Dave
Right.
and let him make your tuxedo jacket or and have him make the skirt that the young lady will be wearing this with you.
We bet you match with your date, with your his and hers set.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I want to bring up something else I'm doing. I'm very proud to be doing. Next year, November the 2nd through the 11th, I'm taking a group to Ghana, Accra, Ghana. And we're gonna we calling it going, not coming to America, but we calling it going to Africa. It's 9 days. We're in the Kapiski Hotel, very 5 stars where all the celebrities at. We're gonna show you your heritage. Some of the activities we got going on. We're gonna do we're going to Cape Coast. Cape Coast is where all the slaves were held in the dungeon before they were transferred over. We're gonna visit that. You're gonna see what our ancestors went through. We're gonna get that experience. And then one of the nights we're gonna have a naming ceremony. We're gonna have all the elders from the villages come meet us. We're gonna dress up we're gonna have custom made garb. They're gonna make for us, and we're gonna rename us, and you're gonna see you're gonna see what your name was from the elders, and it's gonna be great food, great excursions. So that's going to Africa. That's on my Facebook profile too as well. It's gonna be a great experience, and it's gonna be affordable. But I want if anyone who's never been back to the motherland, please consider going to Africa, Ghana, Accra. And we're going to make that a yearly event as well, the pilgrimage.
Well, that's a very good idea. People sometimes forget that Africa is truly a continent. And there are, I believe, 32 or 33 countries on that continent. And Ghana is certainly one of the most prestigious of them. And one that was very active, unfortunately, in the slave trade. It wasn't their fault, because it was everybody's fault at that point. But yeah, I've been to the continent. Once I've been to Kenya, and I've been to Egypt, and I went to Mozambique to President Marshall's funeral there when he was killed. He was killed by the South Africans. Mozambique is it's like Ohio and Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah, so Mozambique is right next to South Africa. So yeah, it's really an experience, a very different experience.
Right.
So I think this is exciting. So how much is this going to cost us?
We're still getting other numbers. The majority of the expenses is going to come in the hotel accommodations, because the hotels are there. I don't want to put nobody in no flimsy hotel. I'm going to give my people the best, and the best hotels over there is at Kapiski.
Okay. Oh, that'll be wonderful.
Yeah.
As I recall, most of the direct flights to the continent generally originate in Atlanta now.
No, we're going out of JFK, New York.
Okay, you're going out of JFK. I was going to say, I was thinking from the south, but JFK has everything.
10.5-hour flight on Delta One.
Oh, it's direct flight?
Direct flight.
To Ghana?
Yes.
I did not know they had a direct flight to Ghana on Delta.
Yep.
So just once you get into New York, you can get there on any sort of cheap airline.
Right.
Is it out of it's out of JFK?
JFK Airport.
Okay, so you could even fly into Newark, and they have a bus, because it's
train.
real cheap to get to Newark.
Right.
It's so cheap. So you can fly into Newark and then get the train straight into JFK.
Yep.
Right.
That's correct.
Just need your passport.
You going?
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay.
I come to everything you do, every single thing.
That's right, from Atlanta
I have
to Detroit.
no choice.
Right.
I have no choice.
Right.
I am always there. I will always support you in all the things.
Oh, also we're trying to host a big. I've never done this before. It's going to be great for me. A big white party in Ghana. I'm bringing that concept there. I'm gonna bring some of my musicians. I'm gonna bring my DJ. We're gonna celebrate.
Well, you won't need anything but a DJ for that. Yeah.
And one thing they love, and they've been asking us. They want to do this one dance. They're a dance country, a dance format, but they want to learn how to ballroom. So we want to do a big ballroom.
Oh, they want to do stepping. We got to bring a lot of R. Kelly stuff.
Right.
R. Kelly stuff. I'm so glad that he's back on Sirius now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm so disgusted that the rest of the stations have not picked him. I really miss his song.
Right. I like his music. Yeah.
So everybody's gonna learn how to be stepping.
Right.
Step like so
Yeah.
he'll be.
We're gonna hustle. We're gonna step. We're gonna ballroom.
Oh.
Motor City's gonna bring that flavor to Ghana.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you could have parties every night doing that.
Oh yeah.
You could do the daytime stuff and then the nighttime stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds fabulous. So this hotel is really great that you're talking about.
This is the best. I mean, they got one room I saw on a junior suite for $10,000 a night. This room is one of the best.
Wow.
So you're gonna have a nice experience there. Everything, Africa, everything is no ceilings. It's indoor and outdoor. So you can see the stars from the lobby. So it's a nice cultural look. Next door there's a mall. The Tom Ford store is right next door. I mean, It's
Tom Ford for glasses and stuff and clothes. I like Tom Ford.
He has a store right next to the hotel.
So that's got to be the real luxury area then.
It's the Ritz-Carlton of Ghana. Put it that way.
Oh, I heard that.
Right. Nothing but the best.
So what made you think of that? Here you go again. This is another Dave's Choice, Dave's First. I'm going to stop calling you Dave's Choice. It's Dave's First. Like the Polo in Detroit, Dave's First. It was the champagne, the ultimate wiper.
Bubbles and smoke.
Yeah, bubbles and smoke. This is all Dave. This is all creations from his mind. I mean, it's just amazing. Marketing is really your forte. Yeah. Do you ever contract your services out to anyone else?
I never thought about that. I mean, if someone called me, I'd probably help them for free because that's my passion. That's my gift. I love doing it.
You like creating things,
yes,
ideas and stuff, and bringing people together.
Yes, correct.
That is what you really like to do, and you just think out the box.
Yeah, you got to.
So, if anyone out there is planning a fabulous 21-year-old birthday party, or 30 or 40 or whatever, or any kind of event they want to have, they should call you.
They can.
Because you can do this thing.
They can.
Do this thing.
Another event I'm working on. All the single mothers that's disadvantaged. They don't have the resources to give their baby the proper baby shower. I'm gonna do a citywide baby shower. Where I'm gonna have all the sponsors to supply the diapers, the bibs, the clothes, all the necessity need. I'm calling it Rockabye Baby. And that's open to anybody who just made a little bit of fortune.
You know what though, really on that, I think you can get the major companies to help you with that, like Pampers and that's Procter and Gamble,
Gerber,
and Gerber, Procter and Gamble. I think that they would really help with that. And that's a really good idea. Although coming here today, I was listening to the news of WJR, and apparently the birth rate in the United States has gone way down to like 1.3%. And in order to repopulate, I just heard this a minute ago. This is WJR. They're scared to have sex. No, but it started even before.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it started. They said with the recession in 2007, 2008, but it has really dropped with the pandemic. You're absolutely right. But so now people need to have more children so that we'll have enough Americans, to take over America when the rest of us expire. But no, we're down like 1.3 or 1.4, I think they said, is the average birth rate in America. Women are working and not having babies, and certainly not at home. Right. So it's a big deal.
Wow.
Yep.
Now you know that.
Yeah. So I know you're willing to do your
I'm
part.
A little bit tapped out right now.
You're willing to do your part.
Right.
All men are willing to do their part.
Right.
But now that issues have gotten so severe I think we're off. We're off.
How you know?
Like greenlight us out. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know. Now that the child support has gotten to be so draconian in Michigan, did you know that the now when they send you the thing for child support, you're in arrears.
Yeah.
It used to just be, it was just the money. You had to come up with some money and deal with it. Now they tell you they will take your house, they will take your car,
and they take your passport.
They've been taking passports for a long time. So you can't leave the country. Even when that's what you do for a living, like artists and people who sing and who create music and model and so forth, they can't leave the country. So it's really, really gotten to be very, very difficult. So I don't know why it's so bad, because it makes no sense. Because to me, that's creating a debtor's prison. Yeah. And debtor's prisons were outlawed in the Constitution. You're not supposed to be able to have to go to jail, for a debt. Because that's what indentured servitude was in England and so forth.
I want to do something. I might need your help on this. Jay-Z did it last year. Jay-Z went to the front of the court on Father's Day weekend and paid everybody's bond. Said, fathers, come home, be home for your kids on the weekend, and pay for your bond.
Wow.
I may not be out that many bond, but I'm probably going to go get 50 guys out so they won't be home and spend time. Some of these guys get a little bit of business. They taking them out their check. Some are mixed up caught up in the system.
Yep.
And it's just unfortunate. Some guys are locked in for $500, but they got to get to work to get the money. But by the time they get out, they don't lost their job.
But even as a lawyer, I urge people, and I know this way, some women who are just super pro women may disagree with me, and I am pro woman, obviously, and obviously pro child and pro child support. But I do not believe in putting yourself in the system. I don't want the government in my day-to-day life. I think that because of, like you said, facial everything else, because they're in our lives so intricately now through social media and so forth, why invite the state into your relationship? And let me just one point. Yeah. And the other part is, why felonize the father of your child? Why make that child's father, little Tommy, whatever his name is, make his father a felon? Because if you owe more than $5,000, you can be arrested if it's a felony. And all the collateral consequences that come with a federal or state, quite frankly, felony conviction. Why do that? Because if that kid later wants to be president of the United States or wants to be a senator or a representative, all that stuff comes up in his background check. Or he wants to just work for the president. Well, his father is, your decisions as women have real consequences for your children. It's not just, I got to get this $50 every week.
Let me get the flip side. I was put on child support when my daughter was young. The mother had financial assistance from the state. So they automatically put me on.
Right.
When I went to prison, came home, the mother went to the court. I don't want nothing from him. He's a great father. I don't want nothing from him. We're going to please counsel it. Okay, they said, we'll counsel it, but you still owe the state, so he still owe us. So I went to Atlanta. They was putting up warrants out for my arrest. I fly back, get a warrant off my arrest. They were stopping me in the streets because of something. They ain't got. And I said, I'm paying y'all this money, but you're still not giving it to my daughter. So where's the money go? The state is that's another issue. The state,
they have the surcharges.
Yeah,
there's a surcharge. That's the other reason you don't go through the friend
of
the court. Exactly. Because there's a surcharge on every payment that's added by the state because the state is assisting you in collecting it.
And they want to collect their money.
And but now I will tell to our listening audience, if anyone can remember this, if in fact you owe, first of all, a woman can discharge the debt that you owe her. I can just sign the paperwork
that's
and say,
what happened.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. But the part that when she was receiving state aid, the Attorney General now handles that. So what the Attorney General will do, at least general, they were, I don't know if they're still doing it right now, is if in fact you owe the state, if you make your payments to the state for about 6 or 7 months, you can go in and ask that the balance of it be canceled, that the arrearage be canceled.
Okay.
The state can do that. They don't have to get every last dime because it was they got federal money to do it with in the first place. Aid to dependent children is a federal grant. I mean, so it never really cost the state in the first place because most of the money comes from the state and from from the federal government. But but you can ask that the balance of the arrearage be canceled. And they do this when kids are 30 and 40 years old. I mean, you're 70 and the cat's still talking about child support and the kid is 40. Right. It makes no sense. It's a very unfair system. It's just gone too far on the other side, in my opinion.
Right.
So I urge everybody to.
That's some information I need to get out to some of these fathers too.
Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about it.
Yeah.
Get somebody from the friend of the court to talk about it. But you don't. Yeah, it's terrible. You don't have to go through the friend of the court.
Right.
You can opt out.
Right.
When I do a divorce for people, I almost always they always opt out. So you will get more money from him if the two of you just work collegially.
Amen. Yeah.
If you say the kid wants to go to camp for a week or go to summer school and it's $2,000, let him deal with that. He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But if you have the state in his business and getting these dunning letters and all this, you're persecuted actually by the state. It makes no sense to have the state of Michigan in your personal business. Why do that?
Right.
And more important than that, why have him arrested? I wouldn't care.
Right. Right.
So you can say your daddy's in jail.
Right.
What the hell? How does that help your kid?
Right.
So anyway, I think we're off.
Okay.
The green box is on, but I think we've done an hour.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Well, thank you so much.
When can I come back?
Well, we're going to come back. I want you to come back. Maybe even just to talk about your event again next weekend. Are you in town for the holiday?
I should be. No, I might be, not be now. But another time, I would like to come back for the Detroit Choice Award, bring my awards and let people see. Yeah.
Oh, that's whenever you want.
Okay.
You have carte blanche.
My girl.
Always. My main man.